It's a very captivating place. It's hard to not be taken by the sight and the beauty of the place. It's extremely serene, and sublime in that way, and being that close to nature. It's a beautiful place. My name is Sherin Guirguis, and I currently live in Los Angeles, California. I was born in Luxor, and I was raised in Cairo. And I am currently the artist-in-residence at Shangri La, which has been a real pleasure, I have to admit. The experience of the place, contemporary Hawaii, Honolulu specifically, which is a much bigger city, I think, than I expected, having visited some other islands, is kind of mixed in with the museum that is Shangri La, the historical artifacts here, the context in which those are presented, my own relationship with both the island and with my own cultural history. And so I was really excited to see how bringing those three very different things together can be generative for my work, and also how I could produce something here that gives back, and it really feels like an exchange of ideas. For many years, my practice has been centered on the invisible labor of women. In the past, I'd focused on Egyptian feminists whose life's work had been omitted from the history books. Women like Khadija Rawi and Doria Shafiq. Then in the spring of 2020, a dear friend of mine and artist Amatis Motavali invited me to join a group of women and women-identifying folks in a weekly reading and discussion of Fariduddin Attar's Conference of the Birds. The real impact for me was the practice of reading out loud to each other, the act of caring and community and the coming together. And through that experience, I started a new series of drawings that were based on many of the artists, writers, poets, activists that were part of this reading group. The works exhibited at HoMA were made in Los Angeles in anticipation of the residency, and the shapes really are hybrids of pigeon towers that I had been making sculptures of, and there's a kind of bodily quality to them, so they're both shelter and body. And I had been implementing characteristics of the birds from the book and from the drawings that I had done of folks in the group to kind of shape the paintings. Once I arrived to Shangri La, I was given the opportunity to connect what I've already been doing with the site, with Hawaiʻi, with the culture of Hawaii and the history of Hawaii. So naturally, I started researching the birds of Hawaii and learning about the extinction and near extinction of so many of the native birds due to colonization, due to agriculture brought in from the outside, and the extinction of many of the sacred honey creepers that are so integral to Hawaiian culture. And so the three paintings exhibited here at Shangri La are honoring the honey creepers, and the forms and the colors and the patterns really are derived from the research I did around birds like the o'o bird. As far as the process of making and the materials that I use, those are really intentionally on the margins of what would consider contemporary art making materials and processes. So I am intentionally engaging traditional craft, intentionally engaging women's crafts, things that have, again, historically been either erased or marginalized in the conversation, in the dialogue of, say, contemporary abstract painting, for example. And again, those are all signals, and embedded ideas that I put into the work. So immediately when you come in, even if you don't know anything about the work that I make, even if you don't know anything about the research, right, behind the work that I'm doing or this particular work, immediately one can, I hope, engage with the work on a very visceral level.